Hello. Next, we will try to explain how to create an augmented reality exercise. In this case, coming from a 3D model that we can create using an CAD application. And finally, viewing this exercise, this 3D model in our smartphone or in our tablet using a mobile application. Okay, for this process, we will use the Air Media software that is in a web service that we can use in a free mode. Also, to start, we will use, for example, the Tinkercad, also on a free software based on a website where we can work, as you can see here, to create some type of different elements. As you can see here, I am doing, for example, these 3D elements. I can modify the size and the dimensions of this type of balloon. And also, I can, for example, make a Control-C, Control-V. We can join the two elements, and in case that I want to join the elements, but this element I can say that is I want to make a substrate. Select these two parts, I can make the process of making a substrate. One solid element and other the element that I want to substrate. Here you can see, for example, some pieces based on the House of Cards role-play gaming that we have explained it in our pill also, that we will explain. And this type of pieces has been designed and developed using, in this case, AutoCAD. How is possible to put here? Because we can, we have the import button, and we can add STL objects, OBJ, SVG, that are CAD files to change the information from different systems. And if you want to copy one of these elements, you can say Control-C, Control-V, and as you can see here, I can rotate the elements, for example, moving the elements in the different positions of the space. Okay, I think that this is a good solution because it's a free solution that a lot of schools are applying and using for the creation of 3D elements. You have a lot of basic shapes with a lot of elements. You have characters. You have connectors for electronic components. You have other elements making at home, because you can also import and export elements that you have created with other software, for example, using a 3D printing. When you have your composition, for example, developed, the next step will be to make an export. When you have this button, you can export in different formats. For example, if the final output is in a 3D printing, you can select what is the best option that your 3D printing accept. And in our case, I'm searching what is the connection between the Tinkercad and between the Air Media. We have found that the best option is to export like an OBJ file. Here, when we will repeat, when you make the export, you can export all the drawing, all the elements, or maybe you can export only, if you select 1, 2, 3 elements, only these parts of elements. If I don't have select any element, the basic option is all the drawing. And remember, when you make the OBJ exportation, the system creates a zip file with the name of the project that you have in Tinkercad. Okay, then what is the next step? The next step is go to the iRemedia site. You need to work, and we have explained it in the documentation, what is the type of the different licenses that you can download and you can apply. And now we will work with the free licenses that is more limited, because you can only work with only one project and a limited number of elements. Then I will sign in. I will put the email and the password. All the steps to set up the configuration and to set up the user ATC are also explained in the documentation, in the step-by-step template. And finally arrive inside of the system. As you can see here, there is like 3 main steps: upload assets, create a project, and finally the visualization of the project. If we follow these steps, for example, the first step is upload assets manager. I will click in this button, and as you can see here, I don't have any asset. What is an asset? An asset is a 3D model, an element that we can visualize using the augmented reality. As you can see here, because we are working with the limited licensing of iRemedia, I have until 500 megabytes to upload documents. I have until 10 assets to upload. In a previous work, I have uploaded 1, but I have deleted. Then the system recognizes I have uploaded 1 element. And you can work until with 10 elements. In our case, I will press the button of plus to add a new asset. And I can see here, we can see here, for example, that we have different type of elements. They are limited because we are working with the free licensing. In our case, we will work with a 3D model that is in a zip file that has been created using Tinkercad. As you can see here, we have a menu to make a drag and drop to upload the content, or click select to identify where is the file that we want to work. In our case, I have here an Explorer, and I will put this element, drag and drop to this point. As you can see here, the asset has been loaded successfully, and here I have my asset. If I click inside of this element, I can see a preview of the 3D elements that I have designed or drawing using the Tinkercad. Okay, perfect. I can upload until 10 assets, 10 elements by each licensee, by each email that I have registered in the iRemedia system. Okay, let's go. I will go to the projects. Remember also that the assets can be uploaded after to create all the steps to visualize the augmented reality model. First of all, as you can see here, there is no projects in my system. I will create a project. The first step and mandatory is to create the project. I will put, for example, the name of CreaSTEAM AR build. The description I can put here, for example, teacher training about augmented reality. And here I need to select what type of augmented reality I want to use. We have 3 main types. Planner, in this case, we will use a mark and over the mark, we can see the 3D elements. We can use the geolocalized augmented reality. It's more complex because we need to know where is the coordinate, the geographical coordinates of the position, of the real position and the size of the elements. And also spatial is not necessary to use an augmented reality mark like an QR code, and then you can in the closest, in the very near of the position of the smartphone, you can view the 3D elements. I think that the more easy and to start to work with this system is to use the planner. Then I will make an accept. And for each project is necessary, okay, for each project is necessary a thumbnail. This is an image to identify the project. And then, for example, I will put this element that is an image file. Now we have created the project with an image, and I can push in this button. Then we have the type of the project. This is a planner project. We have the description, and inside of the project is like a book. We have a book. Inside of the book we have the chapters, and finally inside of the chapters we have the pages, and the pages will be the assets. Then if we have the project that is like the book, we need to create the chapters. The chapters in this system have the name of scenes. Then in this case, because we have selected the planner system to use the augmented reality, we will need to create and upload the target image that will be the image that we will identify and substitute by the 3D models. Then, for example, I will select from here and I will put my name, basic target. Description, in this case, is not necessary. But I will validate it. And finally, it's necessary to drag and drop the image that finally we will use to make the augmented reality exercise. Then I will select for this. I will select for this exercise this thumbnail, this mark. Okay. Now I will push inside of this element, and inside of this target, inside of this basic target that I have created to use after the final process, we have the scenes. As we have explained previously, inside of the book, inside of our project, we need to create the scenes. Now I will make the plus button, and the sense also needs a name and a description, and finally we need to select what type of the scene we will create. For example, exercise description, training wheel, and as you can see here, there is some type of types of scenes, augmented reality, 360 degrees multimedia content, of if we are creating an more type of interaction systems, we can use this file system. We will select augmented reality and we will validate the selection. We have an empty scene. We will go inside. And here, as you can see here, we have our mark because we have selected a planner augmented reality. Then this will be the image that our system will need to identify to push inside, to push the element that we have modeled using a CAD system. Then to import our element, here you can see some type of tools to rotate, to scale, to import image. Also, we can put videos, sounds, buttons. On your case, I want to use a model. Because previously we have uploaded an asset, now I have the asset here to select. If in the first moment when we have inside of the IRM media system, we don't have uploaded an asset because we have started creating the project, finally adding the mark, after that creating the stem, and we are now editing the stem, then we need to upload here the assets of our project. As you can see here, we have a button to add new assets. In our case, we have created the stem and we need to put only the asset that we have uploaded. And for this action, we need to push, we need to press the button of plus here. Now, as you can see here, we have our 3D element that we have created using Tinkercad. And now the idea is to put over the image. For these reasons, you have these elements, as you can see here, to locate the model. For example, if I want to put inside or put over just in the image, we need to, go up, go down. And for example, if the size of the image that we will recognize will be this, we will have the 3D model with this size. If we want with a bigger size, for example, I can, with the element selected, I can go to the scale, and then as you can see here, there is a type of arrow that I can move here. And as you can see here, the size of the element will be increased. I can go the thumb out, and maybe now I can change again the position of the element. Okay, now when the system will identify the size of the image, we will substitute by these 3D elements with this size. Also, other options that we can make, for example, here you can see the rotation. You have the rotation. If I move from this point, as you can see here, we are moving, taking into account the red axis. Also, I can move taking into account the green axis, and also I can move with the blue axis. Okay, you can put here with an exactly number, and I will restore with the 0 degrees if any type of axis. And then when we have moved, scale, and located the 3D model, the next step will be to go to the File menu and make a save. Stem and experience has been saved, and then I can go out from the stem. Appears a message, confirm exit stem. Yes, we have saved all the changes, and we can go out without any type of problems. Remember, again, we have created a project with a mark. We have created inside of the project an stem. And when we have edited the stem, we can view the mark, and we need to import the asset and locate the asset inside of our mark. This is our project. We can close. And here that we have our project completed, but we cannot view our project using an augmented reality because at this moment the project is in work. When we have the project in work, it's possible to edit and to make changes. If we want to export to the augmented reality system to view using our smartphone, then we need to push inside of this button. And now our project is completed. What means that the project is completed? That we can share it and we can view using augmented reality system. Then, if I push the button of preview, now you can see that in our screen, we have the mark that we will use and also a QR code that will help us to link between the mobile application to the 3D model. Okay, then to view in a real time how the system are working, now we will use our smartphone, and then as you can see here, we have the QR code and we have the AR Media application. When we have the AR Media application, we have this button to make the scan of a QR code. Sometimes the application is not working properly. We will open again. We will select the button of the scan. The QR code has been scanned. Then I can make the open. And as you can see here, the system notify us that will be used this trigger, this image, this mark, in order to substitute the mark for the 3D element. I will make a continue. Now, for example, as you can see here in my screen or the mobile phone, when the system identifies the image that we are using as a mark, they put the 3D model. Other example, for example, can be done using a printed sheet, as you can see here. And now I can move. And also it's possible to move the sheet, and when the system identifies here, we can see the 3D model to view the 3D model. Okay, that's all. The main idea is that we can create any type of 3D element, for example, to put inside of a physical mockup. For example, in architecture, we are using this approach when we create a physical mockup of a part of a building, or maybe in a urban planning, and then to view the building that needs to be placed in a concrete location, in place to create the model using, for example, paper or other elements, plastic, we can put a marker and using augmented reality we can view the building with the quality that we can approach, we can move, we can create with a bigger scale, and also it's possible to view in a more one-to-one scale in order to stay inside of the building and understand better the 3D elements and the complete space. Also, there is a lot of options inside of the IRM media system. There is a lot of options for drawing using Tinkercad. There is options to create buttons inside of the elements of the 3D elements that we are using. And now, what is the idea? The idea is also to view any type of template or any type of video or any type of example and play with the system in order to implement this type of exercise. The main idea is that we can have a workflow starting for the 3D design, making a photo composition edition to present and to view in the ideal position of the space, and finally also to make it the printing 3D, the prototyping of these elements to have more or less clear what are the necessities of the final implementation, taking into account all the digital tools that we need to use. Thank you so much for your attention. We keep in contact.